One. Okay, sige. Nga pala, good evening sa inyong lahat. So, first of all, I'd like to thank Svelte Society PH for inviting me here. Mag-share sa inyo ng something. Yeah, this is for beginners and for intermediate, for developers. Advanced, let's see, no? Kung gaano ka-advanced. So, yeah, I'm Devin Duldulao. Nakabase ako dito sa Oslo, Norway since last year. Now I'm 14 months here working for a company, IT company. Yeah, what else? I'm a Microsoft MVP until now. It's my third year. I'm also an Auth0 ambassador. Auth0 is authentication as a service provider. So, okay, slides. Ito yung mga papakita ko muna, slides, and then we'll do live demo. GraphQL for backend using Node.js, and then from the front end, yung Svelte natin. So, then papasok sa Svelte. So, what is GraphQL? Yun muna yung una natin na tignan. GraphQL is a specification query language for your API that provides a more efficient, powerful, and flexible client-server communication na pwede nyo ipalit sa Restful service. And ibig sabihin ng specification is that GraphQL is only a set of general guidelines. So isipin nyo guidelines siya, specification of how to query data in a really efficient way. But you may use different approaches or design patterns when implementing GraphQL. So discard na nung lagawa ng framework. So what's good is that there are already GraphQL implementation in different languages. Meron na from Python, from .NET, Java, Elixir, Ruby, Scala, PHP, and more. Okay, who's using GraphQL? Mga tanong. Maramihan. So ito yung mga companies. Actually, this is 2 years ago. Now, of course, imagine mas marami pa. Ngayon, we have Twitter, Rakuten, Pinterest, PayPal, Numerally, Yelp, Leaf, KLM, you name it. Mga big companies then. And then, why use GraphQL? GraphQL has a lot of going on around those ecosystem. But focus muna tayo sa advantages of moving your RESTful service to GraphQL. Let's see. First of all, you get types, which guarantees that the data you get will be of the type expected and prevents many of the common errors with REST. So if that's been like annoying para sa inyo, you're a good candidate. And then when you have multiple databases or even different databases serving the same application, see GraphQL is a much better approach for this disjointed or disconnected architecture. It serves a single endpoint, single point to do all your queries versus multiple separate entities. Other advantage, going to GraphQL is the flexibility of the queries. You can query for very specific data. Say only, let's say first name, gusto nyong i-response from a big object, for example, person object, ng contacts or employee. Gusto nyo lang yun. And then, see here, small points ito na pwede ninyong sabihin na dahilan kung bakit gusto niyo ng GraphQL from big objects, and then gusto niyo lang i-return yung few fields. However, GraphQL isn't the best solution in all cases. Hindi pwedeng GraphQL lahat ng services ninyo. For instance, writing GraphQL types along with your entities, extra code to extra boilerplate. What else? If you're building small application or API, REST could be a much better approach. Consider the cost of developing the GraphQL tool versus the value it may provide. If you're going to scale an application beyond the simple queries lang, or already have a big implementation, then yes, GraphQL may make sense. So advice, start small with REST because implementing GraphQL isn't that a big deal. And then when you're ready, go for it. And then before we differentiate GraphQL from REST, let's see what's common between them. So both are stateless, produce data in JSON format, available in any server-side languages and front-end frameworks. And then now let's see what are the differences between the two. So first, REST has these multiple round trips to collect the information from multiple resources, whereas in GraphQL, it has one single request or endpoint to collect the information by aggregation of data. Yeah, this makes GraphQL more maintainable and more user-friendly or developer-friendly, imagine, on endpoint or one block. So next, overfetching and underfetching data resources in REST. The GraphQL, you only get what you ask for. Because you can specifically ask for, in properties of fields. Yeah, in REST, caching is built into HTTP spec. GraphQL, on the other hand, has no automatic caching system. But pwede kang gumamit ng libraries like Apollo, can do the caching for you. And you can also set up a proxy between your client app and your server. So it's like proxy between sa network. So before hitting the GraphQL server, you can create another service that do the caching. So yun yung workaround doon. Okay, so key concepts, kailangan nyo tandaan pala to. Hindi ako sure if it is marami to sa inyo or konti. This could be subjective. So let's go with query first. Query are used to fetch data and can be executed with fragments, aliases, and arguments. And second, we have mutations. And mutations are used to add, update or delete data into your GraphQL environment. And then subscriptions is a capability to notify clients of definable events that happens in the API website. And types defines our GraphQL schema, and each property expects a type. For example, string, or Boolean, or number. Resolvers. So yung name niya, resolvers. Resolver is a function that resolves the actual value of each field. So dito nyo na kukunin kung ano yung gusto ninyong i-send sa front-end or dun sa gusto mag-put siya ng SQL service. Dun sa database. Context, ito importante rin to. It's an object shared by all the resolvers of a specific execution. It lets resolvers communicate with each other of the resolver. And saan ito ginagamit? Useful to for keeping data such as authentication, info, and current user, database connection also. Data sources and other things you need to for running your business logic. Then your schema again defines the shape of your data. Actually, this is the union of types and resolvers. Makikita nyo later on schema na ito niyo. Basically, resolvers are the functions that respond to queries and mutations. Tandaan niyo pa pala yan. And they are the function that gives the result of the query. Lastly, data loaders. Siya yung magbabatch and cache ng database queries ninyo. Kailangan nyo rin yan kasi mayroon problem sa GraphQL, yung n+1 query na nagmumultiply yung query ninyo sa database, but si data loaders ang nag-solve ng problem. So, hindi nyo na kaya ang problema. Here's a sample of GraphQL query that you can send from a client app to GraphQL server. So, here we have query here. Gamitin na yung query ninyo na read-only, right? Other types are mutation and subscription. And again, mutation yung mag-read and write Schema read and write operation, while subscription is used for creating WebSocket connections. What else? Object type here. Ito yung most basic component of GraphQL schema. It's being used here as requested field, and that will be the object to be returned. And scalar type here. This can be primitive type such as string, int, boolean, float, and yung ID na all caps, and custom type. So yung custom type. So yeah, one advantage of GraphQL is that you can be very specific about which kind of data you want to retrieve. For example, you want to get the to-dos data here, but only the ID and title. So while for the other properties of to-do object that are stored in the database, let's say is completed or created at here for this query, we're not fetching them. And here's another example of GraphQL query. There's the operation type. Yung operation name, that's optional, but tulungan kayo for debugging and server-side logging. And variable definitions here. So GraphQL queries allow you to be more specific regarding which data you want to fetch. And that can reduce the amount of data which is transferred over the network. Ito na, si introspection. So every GraphQL server has a special schema. Of course, kanya-kanya tayong business model at query route. So, and using that, you can expose all of your objects in the fields in a GraphQL server. And this allows developers to create amazing tools. For example, auto documentation. We can ask for a server, what are your fields and objects? And these fields and objects usually have names and descriptions. Plus, they can let you use every field. So you have free documentation right out of the back. Nakikita niyo later. Code generation. You can imagine if you have some front-end code, and you might even be able to guess what query do you need and generate it because you know what's possible and not. You can read later. Static validation. So you don't even need to let the query go to the server and then get rejected because mali pala yung sinend nyo. Pwede kayo magana dito yung nakikita nyo kasi squiggly. So meaning mali na agad and then mag-edit na lang kayo and then makakatulong yung control space kasi ipupok ninyo yung fields na kailangan ninyo. Makikita nyo doon sa IntelliSense. Parang na IntelliSense. Later. And then, yeah, yung characteristics niya that would help IDEs to validate the queries and auto-complete the queries because they know everything about the schema from the beginning. Yeah, so ito yung favorite part ko sa GraphQL. Naging favorite din yan once na makagamit ko ng GraphQL. And then yung ayaw nyo na bumalik sa rest. So to start, you need to build GraphQL server, then use GraphQL queries, and then frontend. Okay, this is it. Demo time. Okay. So demo time. Demo time lighting. Nag-represent tayo. Ito na si Svelte front-end, but sa back-end, pakita ko muna kung ano yung bare minimum na pwede nyo i-code. So, here, maraming ways para gumawa ng GraphQL server in Node.js. And here, I'm using GraphQL Yoga. Pinadali niya rin. And marami rin actually. But ito yung naging una din sa mga naging sikat. GraphQL Yoga and Prisma. Right? And tayo dito sa index natin. So here's the resolvers. Actually, naano niya lang, kinukuha niya lang lahat si query mutation. Here. Yung pinapass niya lang kay GraphQL server. And definition, kailangan nyo rin yan, type defs. Pwede nyo ilagay dito, like, dito nyo na lang i-code. Or create kayo ng another file like this. So, ito na yung mga definition natin. Query, meron tayong info, meron tayong feed, mutation, post, sign up, login, link. So ito lang yung pwede nyo gamitin. Kasi nga dito lang nakadefine. Nakita nyo rin yung type niya, string. So, ano pamigitan niya? It's kay resolvers since siya yung consolidate ng mutations and queries. Yeah, simple lang yung kay query. Yun lang. And then, andito na pala yung resolvers natin. Anyway, feed. So, context, Prisma, link, find many. Si Prisma, ito na yung minamagic ni Prisma dito para kunin nyo sa database. Find many. Kunin nyo lang lahat. Ito na yung resolvers nyo. I-return niya kung ano yung kapag nag-request kayo ng feed. Prisma, link, find many. So, mutation din. So, since front-end developers tayo lahat dito sa Svelte, and this pati sa front-end framework, JavaScript framework, hindi muna tayo dito magtatagal. Sinikita nyo rin yung context. Ito yung malaki ninyong object na pwede ninyong galawin. Nakikita nyo, dito na rin kayo magagawa ng authentication at server. Dito kay context. Yan, malaki yung part niya dito. Kasi ganyan yung information ng sender ng request. So, punta tayo kay Svelte. So, paano kayo gagamit? Paano kayo mag-consume ng GraphQL using Svelte? So, let's check out the package.json. So, here, gumamit ako ng Apollo client. And yung latest version is 3. Ano yung difference nito sa previous version sa 2? Kasi sa 2 nakahiwalay lahat ng tools niya. So, kailangan nyo mag-install one by one. Sa Apollo 3, andito na lahat. Pinasok na nila lahat yung tools for GraphQL. Mga gagawin niyo. So, isang package na lang. Okay, ano ba itong application na to? Let's check out. Ito yung itsura niya. Yeah. So, itong Svelte na application, kinukuha mo na guide. Okay, so nakalimutan ko pala. Ito sa inyo, ito yung GraphQL playground. So, pwede kayong pumunta dito kay GraphQL or actually nasa slides ko, swappy-GraphQL. Pwede niyong pagtripan to or pwede kayong mag-practice dito. Practice muna tayo. And yung nabanggit ko kanina na say, nabanggit kong schema introspection, no? Andun yung definition ng mga queries ninyo or mutation. For example, this one. Ito yung that's the GraphQL server of this code. Pinakita ko yung GraphQL yoga. So, makikita nyo yung docs, automatic, and then meron kayong docs. Ito yung counterpart ni Swagger UI sa REST. But, yeah, counterpart, makikita nyo different. Maganda lang dito is bibigyan kayo niya ng ID. Kay Swagger, walang ID. And then, mutation, and then lahat. Ang details na kailangan ninyo. And docs, schema and docs. And here, dito sa free, kasi since this is free, open sa public, na GraphQL about Star Wars, walang mutation, no? Of course, di nila allow na mag-delete na lang kayo na mag-update sa database nila. So, yung papakita lang nila is yung query. So ito yung sinasabi natin dito. Query, nakikita ninyo, meron tayong telecents, and then through the brace, control or command space, hindi na kayo magbasa dito, nakikita nyo lang dito, ano yung trip ninyo, yung gusto nyo gamitin. Save all planets. Squiggly meaning required na mag-sub kayo, may kita nyo naman dito. Subfields, kailangan siya, or this is an array. Ganun lang yun, dalawa lang yun. May kailangan na ito yung object na hindi nyo pwedeng gamitin, of course, hindi pwedeng i-render yung object na dapat yung properties niya. Or this is an array. So, pag ganyan, automatic sana, for the brace na ganun ulit kayo. And then, simple space lang. May kita nyo dito kung ano yung kailangan. Count. So, meaning, okay na siya. Pwede nyo isend na to kung gusto nyo testing yun. Kita nyo, all plans 60. Nets. So, quickly, so meaning, hindi dyan nagtatapos yung query ninyo. Okay. Relation. See kung maganda ito. Sample ng Star Wars. Yun, meron tayong planets. Ang dami, ng 60. Tatooine, Gabin, kita niyo population. Gusto niyo pa magdagdag. Marami pa yung pwedeng gawin dito. So this is just an example. And iba rin yung ginagamit ko dito kay Svelte. The way I'm not using the Star Wars here. Nakita ko lang sa inyo yung power ni Graphql, yung introspection, nakikita niyo dito sa sidebar, yun. And then yung intelligence na bibigyan sa inyo. So perfect to if your business is providing a backend as a service. Meron kayong mga customers na kayo nag-handle ng APIs nila. Yeah, this is the best, no? Para bigyan niyo yung power kasi may mga experience ako na limited kami dun sa APIs na ginagamit namin dahil yung provider ng mga APIs is Restful service and then yun lang yung data na kaya nilang ibigay. Unlike if yung business ninyo and then you're using GraphQL technology, yung power ng backend is tinransfer ninyo sa mga front-end developers. So, parang sinabi nyo, okay na bahala sa data, no? Kayo na bahala dito. Dito na yun. Dito na yung solvers. Bibigyan namin lahat. Kayo na yung mag-restrict dun sa user kung ano yung pwede nilang query. No? So, wala, hindi nyo na kailangan si backend developer para, or pwede nyo ba nagdag to dito sa API na to sa endpoint? Pwede bang idagdag to? Pwede bang idagdag? No? Kasi din dyan na lahat. Kayo na yung front-end developers na ng bahala para dun sa response. Right? Okay. So, yan. Yung maganda sa GraphQL. So, balik tayo kay Svelte. Now, Apollo client. Meron ako ditong models. Generate, country. By the way, country pala yung fetch na dito. And then, GraphQL. So, ito pala yung folders natin ng GraphQL. Yeah, meron ako dito yung base URL. Actually, this is it. Yung mga ibang countries. Free rin siya. Open din. And for the WebSocket, and then Apollo client. No? Lahat to nasa GitHub ko. Makikita niyo. Pwede nyo i-download it. I-try. So, yeah. Queries. Check muna natin queries. So, yung technical na dito, sa GQL, so ito yung query language na gagamitin ninyo. Kasi wala tayong HTTP verbs dito para mag-send ng request sa REST dahil hindi nga siya REST dahil isang GraphQL server. Basically, kokopyahin nyo lang yung for example, this one. Yeah. Tapos, nag-develop kayo and then ito yung gusto ninyong response. Ito yung query. What you need to do is copy and then place it here. Don't forget the backtick, no? Para babasahin siya sa string. And then kahit anong position na yan, kahit ganito na yan. But for readability purposes, I don't know, kung it is yung mabasa yung ganyan, no? String yan. Madaling basahin. So, yeah, copy and paste, and then yung iba, by the way, convention is snake casing. So snake meaning all caps, underscore, and then all caps. Ito yung naging convention sa GraphQL. Makikita nyo here, type responses, and then i-kukunin lang natin yan. Hindi lang alam kung saan kukunin yan. Pakita ko lang po copy types, so kailangan ng typings. By the way, may extra typing akong ginawa dito because response type, nakita nyo yung countries response type. Say may pattern to si GraphQL, in ibang GraphQL provider. Ang pattern nila is, yeah, parang kay access nito na data. Ganyan. Something like that. But, depende na may kita ninyo, iba-iba yung pattern nila. So, doon na lang ninyo kung ano yung model or schema ng response. Yung iba talagang nested pa eh, bago ninyo makuha yung collection na gusto ninyo. Anyway, so punta tayo dito sa component na queries. Yeah, so fetch countries, nakikita nyo, client subscribe. Subscribe pala ako dito, fetch countries. Ito yung galing kay query here. Query, fetch countries, and then response, and this is observable, no? Maghintay na lang tayo, naka-if siya, if may data, kita nyo lang, if progress bar. And here, so response data, so yung data yung kailangan natin, right? Mag-i-each na lang tayo doon. Country, by the way, country kasi hindi siya yung naka-plural based dun sa response nung call this free public na GraphQL. So this is collection, baka kasi malito kayo na object siya. And nakita nyo naman each, meaning plural, meaning this is an array. And then country, na kayo bahala dito. And then name, nire-render lang natin, no? Name, country name, distance to other countries, kung ano yung mga katabi niyang countries, and then population. So, and the image, wala yung image, hindi siya connected dun sa API. Kita nyo, pag sinilip ninyo. Image placeholder lang siya, and then gumagamit lang ako ng different query ID here para mag-random technique yan pagkagamit kayo ng mga image placeholder kung gusto yung iba-iba yung lalabas sa screen. Otherwise, if wala to, magiging same image lang siya for all the cards. Yeah, so nakita nyo wala dito what do you call this? Si Apollo, andun siya, nilagay ko kay GraphQL na folder, and dito siya lahat. Yung utilities, WebSocket para dun sa mga WebSocket nyo, and then Apollo client, in-memory cache, HTTP link, and split. Dito si Apollo client. Okay, so dito siya. And then meron kayong in-memory cache. Kung gusto nyo kunin yung data dito. Okay. So, ilang minutes pa ako wala? Tagal pa? Ilang minutes ba ako?
Go lang. Okay lang.
Continue ko lang. Sorry Hindi ako naging dun sa tag kung matagal pa or ilang minutes pa. Okay. Anyway, move natin dun sa slides. Balik tayo sa slides. Hindi pa naman nakatapos. So, okay, dun sa security aspect of GraphQL, pwede kayo mag-bulk endpoints to minimize the number of queries. Bulk endpoints meaning, compare na kayo ng lahat. Pwede kayo hindi lang bumalik dun sa this one. A sample of bulk. Pwede kayo mag-ganito eh. Another here. This is bulk query, by the way. Yes. Something like that. Yeah. So, for security, bulk endpoints to minimize the number of queries and do network level caching. Ano pa yung pwede nyo gawin para security, limiting the maximum query size. Kasi every query niyan may mga sizes yan. Your timeouts. So, mag-limit na lang kayo timeouts pag yung itong request is ganito yung timeout, i-abandon nyo naman yung query. Or yung query depth, pwede nyo i-limit and then yung query complexity. And then what else? A pair resolver level authentication. So, magamit ko sa context and then mo kayo authorization. If authorized siya, check nyo na lang yung claims, yung roles, if authorized siya para dun sa query na yun. Yeah, para sa resolvers niya. References, how to, GraphQL.com. Pwede kayong pumunta dito para dun sa GraphQL. For beginners, tutulong kayo mag-create ng GraphQL server dito sa frontend. And summary. So summary, what and why GraphQL. So, GraphQL is specification query language that ensures data is efficiently generated and accessed. And then si Apollo naman. Apollo client is a client-side library that leverages the power of GraphQL API to handle data fetching and management for you so that you can spend less time planning data and more on building your application. Okay, so questions pala. Doon na nag-get yung
ano tayong questions?
or maybe ba dun sa Svelte na tayo nag-spend ng time. If may question pala kayo. So, this is implementation. Makikita ninyo iba-iba implementation ng GraphQL sa Svelte, but this is, ito ginawa ko to Apollo 3. I don't think may makita kayo. Last week, nag-check ako sa internet kung meron ng available na ibang repo na gumagamit ng Apollo Client 3. Wala pa may nakita na maayos din. And so that's Apollo Client 3. So if meron kayong project na Svelte and then gusto nyo na yung latest na technology, Apollo, grab nyo lang to sa GitHub ko.
So, okay po. Ano po yung mga, how would they reach you kaya? Like, ano po yung GitHub niyo?
Okay.
So, if they have questions.
May questions. Sorry, ano natin yung dito pala sa Twitter. Yeah. And then, yan. Hindi pala mag-PM dyan. And, yeah, PM dito sa Twitter. And then yung GitHub, Webmaster Devlin. Yun naman. Webmaster Devlin yung URL set. Username ko. And sa Swapy GraphQL na URL na pwede yung pagkipan or practice. So, and matayong questions yan. Baka naman i-challenge.
Meron pong shoutouts. Ito galing kay Sir Mac and kay Sir Joe, Devlin, tsaka Dave. Ayan.
Oh, kumusta?
Ito may isang question po from functional programmer. Ano po ang ma-recommend nyo na backend maliban po sa WordPress, WP GraphQL? Yun po kasi yung gamit ko now.
Maliban sa WordPress na GraphQL, ano yung front-end mo and ano pala yung para saan siya? Nag-Jamstack ka ba or depende kasi. And depende rin if gusto mo yung it's like backend as a service na andun na. No? Dito kasi marirecommend nyo na backend. Siguro if wala kayong time, kung mabilisan yung project, Asura. No? Asura yung isa namin ginamit ngayon. Ang ginawa namin kay Asura, since open source siya and meron siyang sariling pricing and package. But yung technology open source, so pwede nyo kunin si Asura and then lagay nyo na lang sa isang VM sa cloud nyo para hindi kayo magbayad. Kaya ganun yung ginawa
gamit
namin.
na po is Svelte.
Svelte, dun sa project na yun, yung current project namin, actually React. React yung ginamit nila. Nasa amin, sinama na lang ako. Yes, si Svelte, ini-introduce ko pa lang sa company namin. But yeah, kilala nila ako as Svelte developer. So, kung meron project, depende sila din. But yeah, anyway, balik tayo dun sa question, marirecommend the back-end. Depende kung ano yung skills mo and kung ano pala yung budget ng customer and kung wala na kayong time. Para meron kayong limited time para mag-develop. Yung si Asura, mabilisan. No? Scaffold niya lahat ng kailangan mo na para query. And if meron naman kayong time para mag-develop ng sarili niyo, depende if Java developer kayo, meron implementation sa Spring Boot. If .NET kayo, meron GraphQL client, si .NET, actually dalawa kumputa. And if JavaScript developer kayo sa Node.js, Express, marami na rin, no? And even sa Nest.js, meron na rin silang mga scaffold ng GraphQL. And TypeScript also, yung iba, naka-decorator, so makikita niyo iba, implementation classes, and maraming decorators, yung iba naman is functional. Okay. So depende sa skills and depende dun sa check it out yung Asura. And meron pala akong talks about sa Asura, makikita niyo sa YouTube. Although ginamit ko dun ibang front-end, ginamit ko is Vue.js, but nakikita niyo yung fundamentals ni Asura sa presentation.
So ayun po. Thank you po ulit, Sir Delvin, sa pag-share ng knowledge about GraphQL.
Yeah. Marami dito mas magaling pa sa akin sa GraphQL. Kilala ko si Joe and si Dave. Buti hindi nila ako tinatanong. Hindi maano ako. Okay, sige. Thank you. May mga, baka naman mayroon pa diyang question. May still have enough time ata. Yeah, almost. But pwede pa siguro sa isang question. Mas na lang.
Ano po pwedeng aralin? JS po ba?
Is this an